as we take a look at some of the local stories that are making headlines. And with all of the COVID-19 plans put in place, we're starting to see some regional shows and horse events start to return. Well, one location, Lockhart Showgrounds, saw an accident occur on Saturday at 11:30. A horse that was pulling a cart has bolted with passengers on board and ran into bystanders while out of control. And local ambulance service inspector Eamon Purcell has said in a statement that two teenagers, a male and a female, were injured when they were thrown out of the car. A woman in her 20s was run over and a male in his 60s also injured. A nurse with 40 years experience and an off-duty paramedic were on the scene, with Inspector Purcell describing their immediate aid as invaluable. The freak accident like this has the potential to cause serious injury, and everyone was very lucky to have escaped relatively unharmed. The 4 people with those injuries were transported to Wagga Wagga Hospital in stable conditions, and the whereabouts of the horse, I think they captured it. Hopefully it's still not running around somewhere out in the back blocks of Osborne or Lockhart or somewhere in the local area. And continuing on the news from out of the Riverina, police on both sides of the border in New South Wales and Victoria have reported the finding of $84 million worth of illegal tobacco being grown in the Swan Hill region. And that's a big find, well, those that are responsible for it are in some serious trouble. And finally, if we're talking about things happening on both sides of the border, then local politician Tim Quilty from the Liberal Democrats, he's on the Victorian side, has called for a new superstate comprising of regional parts of Victoria and New South Wales. If you go back to his maiden speech, he's calling for a Rexit, which he refers to as a regional exit. And he's saying that he believes that both the regional areas along the river of New South Wales and Victoria should join forces and split away from, well, New South Wales and Victoria's capital city-centric Melbourne and Sydney. The state's parliamentary budget officer has published this radical policy proposal from December last year from Mr Quilty, and under the proposal he says that major Victorian regional centres such as Ballarat, Bendigo, Mildura, Wodonga and Shepparton will be included in the new jurisdiction alongside New South Wales hubs as Wagga Wagga, Albury, Orange, Bathurst and Griffith, all featuring in Mr Quilty's Rexit. And if you think this is a humorous tilt at something that's ambitious and would never happen, well, Mr Quilty says that there's going to be events held, one in Rutherglen on March the 24th and another at Tallangatta on April the 8th, before he takes the idea to Shepparton and Bright later in the year. Now, you might recall that Rutherglen is just up the road from Corowa, where I've been for a day or so, and it is the place where Federation began, where they said they were going to bring the states together on the River Murray and they would stop all the arguments once and for all. And now we have a proposal for the same area to be a new state in itself. Yes, Federation, that we still have argument over borders, and we haven't maybe solved the problems that Mr Parkes and his co-federators were once trying to solve. Maybe Mr Quilty has got the answer for us.